Shoot, don't wrong. It's just not news of the day. Monica and Kirsten are still with me. Kirsten, I want to give you the chance to react there to what we heard Sensenbrenner said. What about the buck stops here?
Yeah, well, obviously we need to know who was responsible for it, but I think the point that Jerry Nadler was making was also an interesting point, and sort of to what Monica was saying before the break about Democrats and them responding, excuse me, Democrats, responding to these kinds of leaks. I think Democrats have always been concerned about whistleblowers being targeted in this way, and Republicans, frankly, have often wanted the government to go after publications like the New York Times, for example. Under the Bush administration, many conservatives wanted them investigated, wanted there to be retaliation against them, frankly, for publishing stories that came from whistleblowers. So I am having a little bit of a hard time understanding where the outrage from the Republicans is coming from on this point.
Let me ask Monica to respond to that, because you saw Nadler saying, why the reversal? The GOP was all up in arms about leaks before.
Right.
Now that it's a leak that is causing more controversy, and the press is upset about, the Associated Press getting spied on and so on. Now suddenly it's, let's get them. Let's get the people who are investigating the leaker.
Well, there are two issues here. First of all, national security links under any administration are very serious because they do, in fact, endanger the American people and what we're trying to accomplish in the world. So that being said, I think any kind of serious national security leak ought to be looked at and ought to be investigated. My issue is that during the Bush years, I remember one instance, Megyn, when the President of the United States, President Bush, actually called the New York Times himself and begged them not to put a critical story in the newspaper, not to publish it. I think it had to do with interrogation. I could be wrong about the specifics. But when the commander-in-chief is physically and personally calling the newspaper and saying, please don't do this, it is going to endanger national security, and the New York Times went ahead and published it anyway, and they were considered heroes. Those Bush-era whistleblowers were considered heroes by the left, heroes of the Republic for spilling that. Well, in this case,
I know
though,
we still have much more to discuss, but I got to leave it at that, because now we're going to the White House, where Jay Carney is answering questions on Benghazi. Thank you, ladies.
Okay, you bet.